One of the things that I want to talk to you about is the JFK Files.
You see how Joe Rogan is looking at Trump when he asks this question? He knows Trump really don't want to answer, but he's looking at him like, I got a job to do. Perhaps you should have been prepared before coming on my show. He may even know that Trump will not and cannot give him an honest answer, because Trump definitely knows what happened. If you find this video and the information presented of some interest to you, subscribe, rate, and share to keep these videos circulated within the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for watching. Let's get back to it.
And one of the things that you said was that if they showed you what they showed me, this was your quote, you wouldn't want people to know it either.
So I opened them up partially. I was met with, from good people. I mean, good people. People that were well-meaning. Mike Pompeo was one of them.
Notice how vague Trump will continue to be throughout this segment. He talks about good people with well intent, but he never addresses the question as to what was shown to him in the JFK Files by these so-called good people. Mike Pompeo is the former director of the CIA who served under the Trump administration in his first term. His position, though, is not what permits him privy to the real JFK Files. Such information is given by invitation only. And if the recipient of such information were to disclose to anyone outside the fraternal order, that person would be irrevocably removed from this earth. Even Donald Trump. That's why he is so careful with his words in this interview.
He's a good person. They called me. They said, "Sir, would rather have you not." And I did open them, but I was asked by some people not to open them.
No, you were told not to open them. Just look at his face. He's both annoyed and scared that Joe Rogan would ask him about it.
There's a Martin Luther King file, too, by the way, that they'd like to see. I don't know if you know, but there is that. But JFK in particular. So they called me, a lot of good people called me, people that that you would find reasonable people, and they asked me not to do it. So I said, well, we'll close it for another time. But if I win, I'm going to open them up. I'm just going to open it.
Well, he'll never open the JFK Files, even if he's elected. He had 4 years to do it when he once held office. He was hoping this response would throw Joe Rogan into the direction of asking him something different. But Joe Rogan has been wanting to know about the JFK Files for years. He's interviewed other guests about the JFK Files. So I'm sure Trump is aware, though, that he's not trying to trap him with questions. It's just something he really wants to know. And people like myself and some of you viewers want to know as well.
Why didn't you open it up the first time?
Because a lot of times,
what was the hesitation, though?
Addresses, people that are still living. There are people that are affected. And there could be some national security reason that I don't have to necessarily know about. But some very good, talented people asked me not to do it. I opened it up, and then they said, would it be possible for us to do that a different day?
How much of it did you read into?
At this point, he's thinking of something to make up on the fly. He don't want to say the wrong thing because he knows it makes no sense that Kennedy was assassinated in broad daylight in the prime of his life, and the Secret Service failed Kennedy in the worst way. And allegedly, the Secret Service nearly cost Trump his life this past July. So you would think this is something near and dear to him because the presidency is a fraternity in itself.
I think it's going to be just fine to open it. Let me put it that way. I think it's fine. It's going to be time. It's a cleansing. It's really a cleansing. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it immediately, almost immediately upon entering office.
Well, the thing, when people look at it from the outside and you sort of imagine what could be a reason why they would not release those files, it would be there's people that were implicated in the assassination.
Yeah.
The reason Trump does not want to answer the question is because every president knows that JFK attempted to reform the Federal Reserve and its dictates over the U.S. currency and the hindrance that it was and still is to the U.S. Treasury. At the time, the national debt was nowhere near what it is today. But Kennedy, being a young president, was a bit green. He started printing United States notes under a motion of Executive Order 11-110. Of course, today, many are concerned about the national debt. So Trump also does not want to face questions about why he did not abolish the Federal Reserve through an executive order and get rid of it altogether, allegedly. But most people are under a spell during this election season. Okay, it's public witchcraft. I don't understand why people go out to vote anyway. Your vote doesn't matter. But even them being so-called concerned citizens who want their vote to be honored, they still never ask the tough questions.
Well, when they're living people, you generally tend not to want to do it. When people are still living
People that formerly work for the government.
And living people that were somehow involved in it, and you tend not to do that.
Involved in what? And notice how he lies, because he states that he'll open it up when he becomes president, but he also gave implications that he already knows what's in the files, because he never corrected Joe Rogan on him being misinformed about what Trump said or what he meant to say. At this point in the video, Trump is just gaslighting.
But it's time to open them. I can't tell you whether or not they're going to find anything of interest. And I did partially open. I think I've opened 50%.
So if you opened up 50%, what did you witness in the 50% that you wouldn't want people to know what you learned about the JFK Files? In my opinion, Trump knew about the JFK Files long before he even became president, because his entire life is a script. Kamala Harris as well. I don't vote because I'm well aware that presidents are selected. You must understand what they're dealing with. You have a young president in 1963 whose head was blown off on national television for everyone to see in broad daylight. Okay, I mean, think about that. Also, I believe Trump would not have been so bold to shake his fist in the air had the assassination attempts on his life been the real thing. I mean, think about it. In 1981, Ronald Reagan was shot. Then, about 13 years ago, some uninvited guests appeared at a White House event and were even able to get a photo with Barack Obama. And several attempts, again, have been made on Trump's life, keeping in mind that he was rushed off the stage by Secret Service during an appearance in 2016. So would he really have been that bold to expose his head for a photo shot seconds after one bullet missed him barely in the head? I mean, does that make any sense?
But I was asked not to do it, and I thought that was a reasonable ask. But now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it very soon. There's a lot of interest in it.
One of the things that
There's a lot of interest in the people coming from space, you know.
Yes.
And I know you're interested in that.
Oh, I'm very
too.
interested in that.
See how quickly Trump changed the subject, how he transitioned smoothly from JFK to UFO. Basically, he was dropping a hint to Joe Rogan that that's not something he wants to continue talking about. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments and enjoy the rest of your day.